What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm joined by Tyler, and we are back for another video in our Avengers community series. In this video, we're going to be talking about Tony Stark recreating or kind of coming up with their own Infinity Stones. Now, we had mentioned this in a couple videos ago, and we got quite a lot of comments talking about basically what we meant by it, or just saying we were generally wrong. So we do want, this is why we're doing this. We want to go over what we were talking about with those Infinity Stones, and what Tyler's theory was, and kind of just flesh it out a little bit more for you guys to understand. We also just want to quickly say before we jump in that to welcome any new people that have come onto the channel. We know these videos have really blown up. There's a lot of new people here, so we're really excited to have you. We do a ton of things on this channel, loads of videos, mainly around the entertainment industry, games, movies, TV shows. We do a lot of stuff. We do giveaways every single month for games and for big movie releases. So we just want to quickly say, welcome to anyone that has joined us. We believe we're a very different kind of channel, and we hope you guys have liked our Avengers content, and we hope you guys like all the other content we do on our channel. We have a really big couple of months coming up here in May and June. Okay, so just wanted to quickly say welcome and thank you guys for watching the videos that you've watched so far. So Tyler, let's get into this. You had mentioned before in our Tony Stark will defeat Thanos. You kind of threw around a theory of making, maybe in their own way, or kind of replicating the power of the Infinity Stones from like the good guy's point of view. So you want to go more into what you meant there?
Yeah, basically what I was saying before, as I'm talking about this, I don't mean that Tony Stark and the Avengers are physically going to create a stone, an Infinity Stone. That is not what I said. I believe that what they will do is they will replicate the abilities of the Infinity Stones. They will replicate the abilities of the Infinity Stones that Thanos has to possibly take on the Infinity Stones that are in Thanos' possession. So now I'm going to list off basically how they would do that, like what would classify as each stone, basically. So we're going to start off with the Power Stone. The Power Stone would be the character, the actual character, Captain Marvel. The new character, Captain Marvel. Her movie comes out in, I believe, February, and then she'll be in Avengers 4. That's who was called at the end of the after-credit scenes by Nick Fury. Now, the reason that Captain Marvel is the Power Stone, because you might be thinking, well, Thor was very powerful, which he was, but according to Kevin Feige, I was told that it's not Feige, even though it is Feige, so I'm going to say Kevin Feige and Kevin Feige, just to please everybody, that Captain Marvel is actually the strongest. I almost think, I don't know if he said being or hero, but one of the two, maybe I think he said hero, the strongest hero that will be in the Marvel universe to date. That's very cool. That's very interesting. We'll see how that goes. But Captain Marvel is the most powerful being, or the most powerful hero. Therefore, her just being there basically is equivalent, in my eyes, to the Power Stone. Next, we'll do the Space Stone. Now, the Space Stone, as we know, can teleport you through space. That's how Thanos was able to show up basically wherever. You can teleport through space. That's how Red Skull made it to Vormir, where he becomes like the Stonekeeper for the Soul Stone. Because in Captain America, the First Avenger, he is holding the Space Stone, the Tesseract with the Space Stones in it, and basically he's teleported. So their version, the Avengers version of the Space Stone, to replicate the ability, would be the Bifrost that Thor now has access to with his new weapon, the Stormbreaker. He's able to basically, because of the Bifrost, enter any realm and essentially teleport wherever he needs to be. So that definitely replicates the Space Stone. I wouldn't be surprised also if Thor, having the Stormbreaker, is one of, if not the tool. Like if they have to kind of like chase down Thanos, if he's the one who like kind of teleports everybody place to place, depending on where they end up going in this upcoming Avengers 4 movie. Next, I'll talk about the Time Stone, replicating the Time Stone. This one, if you guys thought of anything, let me know. But what I'm thinking is based on what we saw in the set photos, you'll notice that on all of their, I think it was their left hands, they all had this kind of like wristband. Well, I guess it's not really a wristband, but it kind of goes around the palm of their hand, and it's on the back of their hand. I can't really tell what it is, but it's interesting because the characters that are wearing them, they go back into the Avengers 1 Chitauri war time, or right after that. So I assume that what happens is maybe Stark, Shuri, Banner, maybe even Rocket Raccoon, they maybe literally come up with time travel. I don't know, but that's definitely possible. That's the most shaky one out of all of mine. But that would obviously replicate time, being able to go back and change things in time. Now, the reality stone, replicating the reality stone, would be Barf from Civil War, which is what Tony Stark shows us in the beginning of the movie when he is remembering, the last time that he was with his parents, and he actually changes the memory to how he wishes that it would have went, but it didn't go. But again, that's he's essentially changing reality, not physically, but he's kind of warping reality around him. Now that could be used when they're facing Thanos, and just like in the movie when in the collector's place, how everything looks fine, but then we find out that it's all in ruins. Basically, Tony Stark would be able to trick Thanos in believing that maybe he makes him see Gamora or something. I don't know, but he'll be able to pull that reality stuff on Thanos because of Barf. Mind, I believe, if you've seen the Vision Will Return video, I believe that Vision will, obviously, I just said it, return, and he, in my opinion, would be the mind, like replicating that Mind Stone. Now, we're pretty sure that Shuri finished, taking all the files, all the data out of Vision, or at least like moving it, so that the Mind Stone could be removed. And again, there was the Mind Stone, there was Tony Stark's like AI or something, Banner, Jarvis, and Ultron. So she, I think, successfully removed the Mind Stone, and then the other parts are left. If they repair his body or make a new body, they can enter the other 4 data into him. And what I was saying, too, is what's possible is that maybe Stark helps Shuri recreate his body or however they do it, where they're going to use Stark's new nanotech that he has on his Iron Man suit. And because Vision wouldn't have the Mind Stone to shoot beams out of, maybe he can, like the Iron Man suit, or Tony Stark in the Iron Man suit, maybe he'd be able to create whatever weapon he wants at will. That would be pretty cool, because that would be like a being who could just change form. So that would be pretty cool and pretty new for the Vision. But again, that would replicate the Mind Stone. Now for the Soul Stone, there's not a physical thing, but there is, kind of. Now what I said for the Soul Stone is that basically replicating the Soul Stone is that all the Avengers are all fighting for what they've lost, and depending on the time period that they do this in the movie, they're either fighting for what they've lost, like the lost souls of their friends and half of humanity of the universe, or they're fighting for that. They're fighting for all the souls. They're fighting for everybody to make sure that this, if they saved everybody, if they turned back time or they fixed it and brought everybody back, then they have to defeat Thanos. The Soul Stone would be that they're literally fighting for people's souls to make sure that he doesn't do it again. So that one's not like there's really no way to replicate that one, but that's just it. There's really no way to replicate it because, and some of you guys are saying like, well, Tony Stark's going to sacrifice Captain America to get the Soul Stone. First of all, that honestly is stupid. That doesn't even make sense. There's only one stone for each. Don't forget that. There's not multiple Infinity Stones. It's not like there's these caves throughout space where you can mine these stones. It's not how it works. There's only one. They were the beginning of everything. Together, because they said in the movie, Wong says the Big Bang happened, and then there was these Infinity Stones. And then the Infinity Stones caused, like, the perspective thing, or whatever they represent, to happen. So people have brains and minds because of the Mind Stone. People have a soul because of the Soul Stone. It's almost like they're each like a god almost. Time exists because of the Time Stone. There's not more than one Soul Stone. So they're not, no hero is going to kill another hero to get a Soul Stone. It truly makes zero sense. And even if it did make sense, it's impossible because there's only one stone. And Thanos has it already. So that's kind of why really there's no way to replicate it, and there's no way to, harness its ability or replicate that power, because it's basically the soul of a person. So it makes sense that they're fighting to protect people's souls so that they don't die. And that would be their driving force, is we already lost half of the universe. We got them all back. We're not going to let it happen again. We got the Power Stone replicated by Captain Marvel being the most powerful. You got the Space Stone replicated by the Bifrost. You got the Time Stone replicated by Stark, Shuri, Banner, maybe even Rocket, creating time travel. You got the Reality Stone replicated by Barf, that was introduced in Civil War. You got the Mind Stone replicated by New Vision. And you got the Soul Stone replicated by what I was just talking about, is basically protecting the souls of the universe, the entire universe. Now, I don't know if this is how they fully defeat Thanos. If they go this route, I don't know if they fully defeat Thanos this way, but I do think that this would be one way for them to not so much take the fight to Thanos, but to kind of equal out the fight. I truly think it does make sense, because don't forget that for a lot of these, we do have like Rocket Raccoon, he's pretty smart himself, and he thinks more out of the box, so he's not from Earth. Like, he's probably done some other crazy stuff, so he might have some like ideas on how they can augment like the reality, the barf thing, and all that stuff. Rocket's come up with tech on his own. Like, he makes stuff up on the fly, so it's not out of the question for some of the stuff that we've kind of already seen in the movies to kind of be, not the Bifrost, to have some of the other stuff kind of changed a little bit to make it a little bit more crazy, because some of what we saw from the Infinity Stones was pretty crazy. But I do think that it does make sense for them to kind of fight, like if he uses the Reality Stone, they use the reality, replication on Thanos, and they use time travel, or they do this, they do that, and they can, and like every time Thanos goes to use the Power Stone, Captain Marvel shows up, and she's kind of taking him on that way. Or, they might be like, well, the weakness to time might be reality, and the weakness to power might be time. And so they could, they can do all that kind of stuff, where maybe every time Thanos attacks, one of them, let's say Iron Man, he's got possession of the time travel device, but they only have like, one person has one thing. So maybe every time Thanos attacks, Tony Stark goes back like 30 seconds, and then he knows what the attack's going to be. I don't know. I'm making up as I go, much like Rocket makes it up as he is building weapons. But I can actually kind of see them now kind of knowing what each stone kind of can do. It does make sense that they'd kind of be able to use that against him. That makes sense to me. Because don't forget, it sure seemed like Thanos was almost heavily relying on the Infinity Stones, not so much about like what his own power was, except for when he was fighting the Hulk. That was it, though. When he fought the Hulk, it was just him fighting. But after that, he seemed like he was solely using the Infinity Stones. So they might be able to use that against him, where and the whole Gamora thing too.
Okay, so let us know in the comments below, what do you guys think about this? Do you think it's possible to kind of recreate the Infinity Stones? How do you think the Avengers are going to take on Thanos? We're going to be talking about that kind of specifically, what happens to Thanos in Avengers 4 on Saturday. We have many more videos still coming out. We got that one on Saturday, and we have 2 more next week as we continue kind of our coverage of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers 4. So thank you guys, as always, for watching. Welcome again to any new people joining the channel, and we will talk to you guys very soon.